It was a cold, moonless night. Thick fog blanketed the dense forest of elder mist, and the eerie silence was broken only by the rustling of leaves and the occasional hoot of an owl. The villagers called it the Whispering Forest, where shadows danced and strange voices lured travelers to their doom. Amara, a courageous young woman with fiery auburn hair and emerald green eyes, stood at the forest's edge. She clutched a lantern tightly, its flickering flame the only source of light in the ominous darkness. Despite the warnings of the townsfolk, she had ventured here with a purpose: to break the century-old curse that had plagued her village. For years, crops failed, livestock vanished, and children fell mysteriously ill. All the villagers whispered the same name, the Witch of Eldermist. Her younger brother, Liam, lay gravely ill, his body frail and feverish. Amara had no choice. Armed with only her wits, a rusted dagger, and an old map, she stepped into the forest, her heart pounding like a drum. The deeper Amara ventured, the darker and colder it became. The trees seemed to close in around her, their twisted branches resembling skeletal fingers. Strange whispers filled the air, calling her name in soft, ghostly tones. Amara, the voices hissed, sending shivers down her spine. Suddenly, she stumbled upon an ancient stone marker. The inscription read, "Turn back, lest you seek the wrath of the cursed," but Amara pressed on, determined to save her brother. Minutes later, she reached a clearing where a decrepit cottage stood. Its walls were covered in black ivy, and the windows glowed with an unnatural green light. As she approached, the door creaked open by itself, revealing a dimly lit interior. "Who dares enter my domain?" a raspy voice echoed. A hunched figure emerged from the shadows. It was the Witch of Eldermist. Her face was pale and wrinkled, her eyes burning with an unnatural red glow. She carried a staff adorned with skulls and bones. "I've come to end the curse," Amara declared, her voice trembling but resolute. The witch let out a chilling laugh. "Foolish girl, do you think bravery alone can break my curse? Many have tried, and all have perished. Leave now, or face the same fate." "I'll do whatever it takes," Amara replied. The witch paused, her expression darkening. "Very well, but know this. To break the curse, you must survive 3 trials. Fail, and your soul will be mine forever." The ground beneath Amara's feet shifted. In an instant, she was standing in a vast labyrinth of thorn-covered hedges. The air was thick with mist, and shadows moved just out of sight. "Find the key," the witch's voice echoed. "But beware, the shadows are hungry." Amara took a deep breath and stepped forward. The maze was disorienting, its paths twisting and turning in impossible ways. As she walked, she heard footsteps behind her. Turning quickly, she saw nothing but darkness. The shadows seemed to grow closer, their movements faster and more aggressive. Suddenly, a figure lunged at her from the mist. It was a shadowy creature with glowing yellow eyes and elongated claws. Amara dodged just in time, slashing at it with her dagger. The beast dissolved into smoke, but more emerged, their growls filling the air. Panic threatened to overtake her, but she remembered the map in her pocket. She quickly unfolded it, her hands shaking. Following the marked path, she sprinted through the maze, narrowly avoiding the creature's attacks. Finally, she reached the center, where a golden key hovered in midair. Grabbing it, she felt a surge of warmth, and the shadows vanished. The maze dissolved, and she was back in the clearing. The witch's laughter echoed around her. "Impressive. But the next trial will test more than your courage." Amara found herself standing before a still, black lake. The water reflected the starless sky, and an icy wind swept across its surface. A small boat waited at the shore, along with a single warning carved into the wood: "Trust not your eyes." Rowing into the lake, Amara's surroundings began to change. The water turned to glass, and visions appeared beneath its surface. She saw her brother, Liam, crying out in pain. Then her parents, their faces filled with sorrow. Her heart ached, and tears welled up in her eyes. "Amara, help us." Liam's voice echoed. Instinctively, She leaned over the edge of the boat, reaching for him. But as her fingers touched the water, icy hands shot up, grabbing her wrists and trying to pull her under. She screamed, struggling against their grip. "It's not real," she told herself, remembering the warning. Summoning all her strength, she pulled free and sat back in the boat, refusing to look at the illusions again. As she reached the center of the lake, a bright light erupted from beneath the water. A silver amulet rose to the surface. She grabbed it, and the lake dissolved into mist, returning her to the clearing. The witch appeared, her eyes narrowing. "You're stronger than I expected. But the final trial will break you." Amara was transported to a grand hall filled with countless mirrors, each reflecting distorted versions of herself. Some showed her as a warrior, others as a frightened child, and some as a monstrous figure with glowing red eyes. "Find the true reflection," the witch's voice commanded. "But beware, lies can shatter the soul." Amara walked through the hall, studying each mirror. The reflections taunted her, whispering her deepest fears and insecurities. One mirror showed her abandoning Liam, another depicted her failing to save the village. "You're not strong enough," one reflection sneered. "You'll never break the curse," another said. Amara closed her eyes, shutting out the voices. "This isn't who I am," she whispered. "I am brave. I am determined. I will save my brother." When she opened her eyes, she saw a single mirror glowing softly. It showed her as she truly was, weary but unbroken, afraid but resolute. She stepped toward it, and the glass shattered, revealing a hidden door. Beyond the door lay the witch's lair, a cavern filled with glowing runes and a bubbling cauldron. The witch stood in the center, her staff crackling with dark energy. "You may have passed the trials, but you will not leave here alive," she screamed. Amara held up the amulet and the key, their combined light blinding the witch. As the witch shrieked in pain, Amara recited the words etched on the map, "By light and truth, I break this curse." The witch's form began to dissolve, her screams fading into silence. The cavern shook, and the dark energy dissipated. Amara collapsed to the ground, exhausted but victorious. When Amara returned to the village, the air was filled with a newfound warmth. The crops began to bloom, and Liam's fever broke. The villagers gathered around her, their faces filled with gratitude and awe. "You saved us all," the elder said, tears in his eyes. Amara smiled faintly, her heart filled with relief. Though the journey had tested her in every way, she had proven that courage and determination could overcome even the darkest of curses. And so, the legend of Amara, the girl who defied the Witch of Eldermist, lived on for generations, a tale of bravery that inspired all who heard it.